Part 19. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 181. From the time Yang Lin entered the room to when Sun Long was punched to the ground, the whole process only took a minute. The police officers onlookers at the scene didn't even realize what was going on. Sun Long was already lying on the ground. Looking at Sun Long, who was curled up on the ground with his face red from holding back, and then looking at Yang Lin, who was still holding his hands behind his back in the field, the police officers seemed to have seen a ghost. It took a while before they let out bursts of exclamation. "Let me go, what happened just now? Why is Sun Long lying on the ground? That's right, I didn't even see it clearly. Did Taoist Yang just take action?" "Nonsense, he must have taken action, otherwise Sun Long would still be lying on the ground by himself. Sun Long is the #1 fighter in our armed police detachment, and he was also the last martial arts champion. He couldn't even sustain a single move. This is too fake. Sun Long must have let things slip on purpose, that's for sure. Get up and fight again." Listening to the comments from everyone around him, Sun Long, who was already in extreme pain, immediately shed a line of tears. It's not pain, it's anger. He was angry at his comrades who didn't speak human words. And at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Before he could react, a big hand opened his mouth, and then he felt something being stuffed into his mouth. Following a slightly bitter taste, he suddenly felt that the severe pain in his body was quickly dissipating. In less than a few seconds, he was able to stand up again. As soon as he stood firm, he saw Yang Lin with a smile on his face. He was so frightened that he quickly took a step back. After finally calming down, a wry smile appeared on his face. "Taoist Master Yang, you said you don't know how to fight. Your punch just now almost knocked out my gall." As soon as Sun Long finished speaking, Yang Lin said very embarrassedly, "Pandeo really doesn't know how to fight, he's just a little stronger than normal people. Otherwise, let's compete again, this time with only one hand." "Huh? Taoist priest, are you sure?" Sun Long, who was still full of fear at first, suddenly became interested when he heard Yang Lin said that he only used one hand. He had just been punched to the ground by Yang Lin in front of so many people, and his face was more or less uncomfortable. "If I can't find some opportunities, I'm afraid I'll be nagging behind my back for the rest of my life. Of course, monks don't lie, and poor Taoists won't lie to you. Just attack them. Then I'll be offended." As he spoke, Sun Long took up his posture again, and this time he did not dare to be careless in the slightest. After scanning Yang Lin's body with his eyes, he carefully launched his offensive. I saw that he first used the confusing footwork to constantly adjust his body shape, and then used a big grappling technique to directly take Yang Lin's throat and lifeline. At the same time, he did not forget to hit Yang Lin's lower back with his right hand. A set of movements flows smoothly, like muscle memory. An ordinary person would have been beaten down by his combo of moves without even having time to react. However, Yang Lin remained motionless in the face of his offensive. It wasn't until he grabbed Yang Lin's throat with his left hand like a tiger claw that Yang Lin suddenly raised his right foot, and then kicked him in the stomach under Sun Long's horrified gaze. Boom! The onlookers only heard a muffled sound, and a figure flew straight out, and then hit the foam mat next to the venue hard. It didn't get up for a long time. When everyone reacted, they realized that it was Sun Long who had just flown out. At this moment, he was lying on the foam cushion like a big character, and beside him were the bitter water he spat out and the hot tears flowing from the corners of his eyes. The dignified fighting champion of the Jinghai City Armed Police Detachment was beaten to tears at this moment. Before he could get scared from the mat, the familiar taste came from his mouth again. Immediately afterwards, the pain in his body dissipated at a very fast speed. The next second a familiar voice came from above his head. What's going on? It's okay. Pandeo is holding back his strength this time. And no hands either. Hearing this voice, Sun Long first showed a wry smile, and then slowly got up. Taoist priest, I'm convinced, I'm really convinced. If I had known that you were beating me like a child, even if you gave me courage, I wouldn't have dared to fight you. Rather, it has reached another level that is not limited to moves. And I will only teach it once, so you have to watch it carefully. After all, they were not stupid. After Sun Long was kicked out for the second time, they had already realized that Yang Lin was not as unproficient in fighting as he said. Also curious about this question was Qin Feng on the side. While he was shocked, there was also a burst of surprise in his heart. After Yang Lin set up his stance, there were no more barrages in the live broadcast room. As soon as Sun Long said this, other police officers in the surrounding area also gathered around. At the same time, they also became more and more curious about the health-preserving boxing that Yang Lin just mentioned. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin took a stance. The Taoist priest looks like an expert from outside the world, so teaching us is not just a joke. At this moment, these elites from the Jinghai Municipal Bureau have already been impressed by Yang Lin's strength. The muscles and bones roar together, the tiger and the leopard thunder. Taoist priest, do you think I'm successful? I'm weaker than Sun Long. Seeing this situation, the police officers on the training ground immediately gave up their positions spontaneously, and at the same time they also worked hard. It was under the spotlight that Yang Lin began to gain momentum bit by bit. Sure enough, in the face of absolute power and speed, all moves are useless. Therefore, the roaring sound like a tiger's roar and a leopard's roar reached everyone's ears instantly. He didn't expect that Sun Long wouldn't be able to sustain even one move. The scene was already extremely quiet. And at this moment, Yang Lin suddenly laughed. Yes, Taoist priest, I am quite weak too. I can't even breathe when I go up to the second floor. I want to learn too. At the beginning, his punches and kicks were like slides, but as his posture expanded, each punch was extremely swift. Although he had more contact with Yang Lin, he knew that Yang Lin was a worldly expert. But in his opinion, no matter how high Yang Lin's martial arts skills were, Sun Long could still sustain a dozen or 20 moves in his hands. Some people with martial arts skills even thought of two words that only existed in legends. It doesn't matter whether I can fight or not. The main thing is to maintain my health. The same is true in the live broadcast room on the other side. In an instant, everyone's faces showed disbelief. If Yang Lin can really pass on 1.5 moves, it will be of great benefit to these armed police soldiers. What kind of health regimen can make a person develop like this? Also, can you teach me your health-preserving boxing? I feel like I've been a little weak lately, and I want to keep it up. At the same time, roars like muffled thunder also came from his abdominal cavity. After he performed more than 10 moves in a row, the muscles and bones all over his body made a popping sound like fried beans. Of course I can teach you, but whether you can learn it or not depends on your own understanding and destiny. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 182. As an ancient country with a history of 5,000 years of civilization, the Dragon Kingdom has had countless splendid cultures since ancient times. Traditional martial arts is one of these many cultures. Although Chuanwu is now in decline, there are still many legends circulating. According to legend, those who practice martial arts to extremely high levels will have various strange phenomena in their bodies. The sound of muscles and bones and the sound of tiger, leopard, and thunder are the most top-notch existences among them, which are manifestations of external strength and internal strength. When a person's muscles and bones are strengthened externally and internally, they are integrated into one body, the exercise is strong and well proportioned, and the whole body is coordinated when exerting force, the muscles and bones will resonate and produce sound. Everyone thought this was just a legend, but they never expected that they could actually see it in reality. However, although everyone was shocked, their attention still did not dare to shift or slacken in the slightest. His eyes were fixed on Yang Lin, not daring to make any mistakes. It wasn't until Yang Lin finished a set of punches that everyone dared to exhale. At the same time, they began to recollect everything they had just seen in their minds. And martial arts idiots like Sun Long immediately started practicing the boxing techniques taught by Yang Lin. As for the live broadcast room on the other side, it had already exploded. Awesome, simply awesome. This is the health-preserving boxing that Yang Lin practices every day. No wonder his skills are so good. I'm afraid this has reached the level of a magical secret book. He actually said it was a health-preserving boxing. Damn, it seems that my understanding is not good enough and I can't understand it at all. Fortunately, I recorded the screen so that I can learn it slowly when I go back. After practicing this health-preserving boxing, can I become like Yang Lin and knock people down with one punch? What are you thinking about? You and the college students in Qingbei are studying the same textbook. Why didn't I see you go to Qingbei? That is to say, we don't want to reach the level of Yang Lin, we just want to keep fit. Then I have a question. If everyone has practiced this boxing technique and everyone has become stronger, does it mean that everyone has not practiced it? It seems to be true. Don't talk about it yet, didn't you hear the sound Yang Lin's body made just now? What is that thing? Based on my years of experience reading novels and surfing Douyin, this should be the legendary sound of muscles and bones, tiger and leopard thunder. It is said that only peerless masters can reach this level. The Gun King during the Republic of China once reached this level. Yes, I can do this. Every time I eat badly, my body will make thunderous sounds like tigers and leopards. If I play on the computer for a long time, my arms and neck will also make sounds from the muscles and bones. I guess you can't believe any fart when you have the sound of tiger, leopard, and thunder inside you. And I suggest you go to an orthopedic department to check your cervical spine. This is probably a sign of cervical spine deformation. TCH, if it were outside, I would say he's awesome. Unfortunately, this is the Douyin comment section, so I can only say that Yang Lin still needs to practice. I have reached this state a long time ago. Now my farts are like thunder, my movements are like arrows, and my whole body is transparent. This is the first time I've seen someone talk about acute gastroenteritis in such a refreshing and refined way. While everyone in the live broadcast room was shocked by the health-preserving punch performed by Yang Lin, the police officers on the scene also recovered one after another. Having only practiced once, they could already feel the changes happening inside their bodies. Immediately their faces showed excitement. Sun Long looked at Yang Lin with gratitude. Thank you so much, Taoist master, this boxing technique is so mysterious that you are willing to teach it to us. Hearing Sun Long's words of thanks, Yang Lin remained indifferent. It's just a set of superficial boxing techniques. It's not as important as you say. Besides, there is no need to cherish something like boxing in the first place. Only when more people learn it can it be carried forward. As soon as these words came out, Sun Long nodded again and again. Taoist master, what you said makes sense. If it hadn't been for the various sects in the Dragon Kingdom's martial arts community to cherish their broomsticks and keep a hand, the martial arts in the Dragon Kingdom would not have declined to this extent now. And don't worry, Taoist master, we will definitely help you carry forward this boxing technique of yours. As soon as Sun Long finished speaking, Qin Feng and another young man wearing black training uniforms walked towards his position. I'm really bothering you this time, Taoist priest. I think of you being so righteous. With this boxing technique of yours, the casualty rate of our police officers will be greatly reduced in the future while performing their duties. By the way, Chief, this is Chen Hu, the technician at our city bureau's police dog base. While talking, Qin Feng introduced the young man next to him. After hearing Qin Feng's introduction, Yang Lin noticed that there was a police dog leading beside him. I also watched Taoist Master's live broadcast recently, and I know that Taoist Master, you are very good at taming animals. I wonder if you can impart some experience to us. Only then did Yang Lin understand Qin Feng's intention. Pandeo does know a little bit about how to train animals, but he knows nothing about how to train police dogs. But I have a little trick I can teach you. As soon as these words came out, Qin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. After what happened just now, he didn't believe that the tip Yang Lin mentioned was really just a tip. Commander, let's come over here. There just happened to be some new police dogs arriving recently. With that said, Qin Feng took Yang Lin and others to the police dog training venue nearby. As soon as they entered the venue, dozens of police dogs of different sizes appeared in front of everyone. There are heroic Dutch Shepherds, naive Labradors, tall and powerful German Shepherds, and even a few Springer Spaniels with strong postures. Some of these police dogs have been trained and mature, capable of completing various complex tasks, and have extremely strong capabilities. And some have just joined the ranks of police dogs, with a hint of timidity in their eyes. The most eye-catching one is a half-breed German Shepherd nearly 1 meter tall. I don't know what kind of dog it is mixed with, but just by squatting there, it is already a lot bigger than other police dogs. Coupled with its fierce eyes, several people from the program team did not dare to approach it at all. But at this moment, Yang Lin showed an interested look. It's actually mixed with wild wolf blood, which is a bit interesting. As he spoke, he walked towards the German Shepherd. Just when he took a step or two forward, the German Shepherd suddenly stood up, and then assumed an offensive posture. Seeing this scene, the police dog handler on the side suddenly became anxious. "Don't go there, Chief. The Black Panther is very ferocious. It won't obey anyone except me. It will bite anyone it sees." But obviously his words were of no use. The next second Yang Lin continued to take a step towards the German Shepherd. At this moment, the German Shepherd named Black Panther quickly flew towards Yang Lin. Just when everyone thought Yang Lin was going to be thrown to the ground, Yang Lin suddenly performed a strange trick. Then the German Shepherd lay down in front of Yang Lin with its legs in the air. At the same time, it also stuck out its long tongue, looking like it was trying to please. Such a scene immediately stunned all the police dog handlers present. What they couldn't understand even more was that the Black Panther actually allowed Yang Lin to touch its belly, with a look of great enjoyment on its face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 183. In the police dog training ground, as the Dog King Black Panther was lying in front of Yang Lin, all the police dog technicians present widened their eyes. To outsiders, a Black Panther may just be a stronger police dog. But to them, the Black Panther is simply the tyrant of the police dog training base, and he is not only extremely vicious to his own kind. Even they, the police dog technicians, were scared when they saw one. During a previous mission, the Black Panther almost bit a criminal suspect to death. Since then, Black Panther has never been out on a mission. But what they saw now was that the majestic Dog King Black Panther was like a chihuahua, letting Yang Lin touch his most vulnerable place. After the shock, the technician who was responsible for the daily training of the panthers approached Yang Lin with a puzzled look on his face. "Taoist priest, how did you do it? Black Panther never lets outsiders get close." Upon hearing this question, Yang Lin immediately showed a mysterious smile, but he did not answer directly. Instead, he patted the Black Panther lying on his back on the ground. The next second, the Black Panther stood up again and looked at Yang Lin obediently. until Yang Lin ordered it. Go and call the other police dogs over to Pandeo. As Yang Lin issued the order, the Black Panther immediately walked towards the other police dogs, like a general ordering troops. Whenever it passes in front of a police dog, it barks. And the police dog immediately followed it obediently. After a while, dozens of police dogs appeared behind the Black Panther. After all the police dogs were brought to Yang Lin, it once again walked up to Yang Lin with a flattering look on its face. Well done, this is your reward. As he spoke, Yang Lin took out something the size of a jelly bean from his sleeve and threw it into the Black Panther's mouth. Almost visible to the naked eye, the Black Panther's face showed a hint of excitement. The other police dogs present collectively burst into laughter. Seeing this scene, the police dog technicians present couldn't bear it any longer, and they immediately gathered around. But this is obviously not over yet. Just after all the police dogs on the scene were gathered in front of Yang Lin, Yang Lin's right hand once again performed a strange hand gesture. In an instant, all the police dogs quickly arranged their formation as if they had received some kind of signal. The front, back, left, and right are exactly the same, even the numbers in each row and column are exactly the same. Such a scene made the police dog trainers dumbfounded on the spot. No, is this still my stupid guy who has been learning to shake hands for half a month? When did our two tigers become so obedient? Did they secretly rehearse the formation in the middle of the night? No way, absolutely impossible, they can't suddenly become enlightened. Could it be that they are just pretending to be stupid? All of a sudden, these police dog trainers began to wonder if there was something wrong with their usual training methods. However, they quickly dismissed this speculation. Because at this moment, the seal in Yang Lin's hand changed again, and at the same time, an invisible wave spread with him as the center. The police dogs also seemed to be affected, their eyes first became blurred, and then a spiritual light flashed. At this moment, it was as if a mysterious doorway had been opened in their minds. Although no changes can be seen on the outside, there has been a qualitative improvement in spiritual intelligence. Sure enough, they are just ordinary beasts. Even if I use the psychic seal on them, they will only increase their IQ a little. No wonder animals like dogs are not Taoist beasts. While muttering to himself, Yang Lin couldn't help but miss his previous life. In his previous life, when he was in the spiritual official realm, he had already opened his own cave in the mountains. At that time, just to be lazy, he also used the same psychic seal to raise a group of Taoist soldiers for himself. How could he be trained so quickly? Faced with everyone's doubts, Yang Lin finally gave an explanation this time, but his explanation left everyone speechless. He seemed to be asking Yang Lin how he did it. In their opinion, Yang Lin had only been in contact with these police dogs for a few minutes. How is it possible? Taoist Yang didn't do anything. As soon as he finished speaking, the Labrador wearing a police dog vest immediately rushed to the training ground. And the final result shocked their jaws. Seeing this scene, the technician immediately showed a look of disbelief. Surprised, Chen Hu, the person in charge of the police dog training base, looked at Yang Lin with confusion again. Perhaps to verify whether what Yang Lin said was true, a dark-faced technician immediately walked up to the Labrador he had tamed. Hey, is it an illusion? I feel like they have become smarter. Not only was he sent back to the base several times, but he was also lost during a mission. If Black Panther is the king of dogs, then Benben is the shame in their training base. After the shock, he quickly issued the second order. There seems to be something different. After seeing Benben's changes, the other police dog technicians immediately started testing their own police dogs. In fact, not only him, but also the viewers in the live broadcast room were also curious. If it hadn't saved the trainer's life, it would have been forced to retire long ago. Because not long ago, Benben had torn off the injured man's arm in front of him and brought him back. As soon as these words came out, the police dog technicians present became even more confused. In less than 2 minutes, he quickly ran over with a plastic dummy in his mouth. And this is already the limit of intelligence that dogs can reach. As soon as he finished speaking, the police dog Benben showed an aggrieved expression, as if to say, "Why don't you go by yourself? Pandeo has already trained them for you, you can each take them back." But such a stupid dog has now learned how to avoid danger. This is simply a miracle. Not only can I easily understand the technician's instructions, but I can also easily complete some tasks that were impossible to complete before. Just when Yang Lin was quite dissatisfied with the effect of the psychic seal, the police dog handlers also discovered changes in their respective police dogs. All police dogs, whether they are riot dogs, tracking dogs, bloodstain dogs, drug detection dogs or search and rescue dogs, have much higher intelligence than before. Benben, go and find the bomb buried under the sand for me. If their IQ was about 4 to 5 years old before, now it is almost equivalent to that of a 7 to 8-year-old child. After all, in their opinion, Yang Lin had never done anything. And the Taoist soldiers responsible for guarding the cave are all ordinary animals he inspired in the mountains. Faced with its behavior, the police dog technicians present were even more confused. Benben, go and rescue the wounded over there. Before anyone could figure out what happened to these police dogs, Yang Lin, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke again. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 184. My Taoist sect emphasizes that Tao follows nature, and all things have animism, and human beings are the leader of all spirits. The poor Taoists just used some small tricks to enlighten their wisdom. The more important thing is to have love. As long as you have love in your heart, even aliens can feel your heart. Faced with Yang Lin's remarks, the police dog technicians present couldn't help but look at each other. They always felt that Yang Lin said everything, but also seemed to say nothing. The only thing they can be sure of is that Yang Lin did use some means that they couldn't understand. Combined with Yang Lin's special identity, everyone vaguely understood something. At this moment, Yang Lin suddenly continued. Of course, if you want to further enhance the relationship with these dogs, there is a magic talisman here in Pandeo. You just need to meditate day and night, and you will have initial results within a month. As soon as these words came out, the police dog technicians present suddenly felt their eyes light up. If someone had told them before that they only needed to look at a talisman every day to improve their relationship with the police dog, they would not believe it even if they were killed. But after experiencing what just happened, they were already convinced of Yang Lin. The next second, under the delighted gazes of the technicians, Yang Lin took out a talisman pen from his sleeve. Then he used this talisman pen to write a mysterious symbol on the palm of each technician one by one. Looking at this mysterious symbol, although everyone was still a little puzzled, they did not dare to despise it in the slightest. Before that, they had never thought that the tips Yang Lin mentioned would take such a form. At the same time, in a place not far from the police dog training ground, Qin Feng and another city bureau leader wearing a white shirt also looked at Yang Lin and others with strange faces. Old Qin, do you think the teachings of Taoist Yang are really reliable? Why is there a talisman on this? We are also the people's police after all. It's not good to deal with these weird things. As soon as he finished saying this, Qin Feng immediately retorted. Why don't the Marine Corps of the beautiful country invite our Taoist priest from Qingcheng Mountain to be a combat instructor? The Neon Kingdom is secretly learning the Feng Shui techniques of our Dragon Kingdom. I heard that they have already set up special organizations. Why should we insist on these things ourselves? And this Taoist Master Yang is a man of real ability. If he can help us serve the people better, let alone draw talismans, even praying to gods and Buddhas is not impossible. I even want to arrange for someone to learn divination from Taoist Yang. After listening to Qin Feng's words, the city bureau leader immediately stopped saying anything more. And at this moment, Qin Feng suddenly walked in the direction of Yang Lin again. After he approached, he first expressed his gratitude to Yang Lin, and then continued. Director Yang, we've finished looking at the police dog training base. Next, let's go visit the shooting training of our city bureau. Let me also mention those boys by the way. Shooting training? This Pandeo has really never been exposed to it. Director Qin is sure he wants Pandeo to give guidance on this. Suddenly hearing the words shooting training, both Yang Lin and the members of the program team following him couldn't help showing doubts. Letting a Taoist priest guide shooting is no less than asking a man to guide a woman in giving birth. However, this doubt only lasted for a moment, and everyone in the program team became interested. Go and have a look, Teacher Yang. We haven't seen any shooting at close range. Yeah, it would be nice if I could touch a real gun on the spot. Let our fans also take a look at the police uncle's firearms training. Hearing what the program team said, Yang Lin also became somewhat interested. Although the ordinary thermal weapons in this world can no longer hurt him, he is still very curious about this extremely lethal weapon. Yang Lin nodded immediately when he thought of this. As he finished speaking, a young man with a stern and steady face trotted over. These are the elites of our Jinghai City Bureau, and each one of them is a sharpshooter. If they were allowed to participate in the Olympics, they would not have a 100% chance of winning a gold medal, but they would still have no problem winning a medal. It's rare to come across something that Yang Lin doesn't know how to do. The next second, in the horrified eyes of all the police officers at the scene, a bullet hit a gangster in the middle of the target's eyebrow. After he finished the demonstration, he immediately put the gun in front of Yang Lin. Wow, these police shooting postures are so cool. Hole, come here and teach Taoist Yang how to use a gun. Daozang Yang, I am Hole from the Criminal Investigation Detachment of the Municipal Bureau. Please follow me. That's right, I don't believe he would have the opportunity to touch a gun while he was practicing on the mountain. To Hole, who was standing by him, it was clear that he was in a daze, so out of good intentions, he quickly comforted him. Daozang Yang, this is your first time trying to shoot. Don't put too much mental burden on it. It doesn't matter even if you miss. It's really thanks to the program team. This is the first time I have watched shooting at such a close distance. Although it was the first time to use modern weapons, he did not feel any strangeness. Because just now he had used his own soul power to examine the structure of the entire firearm. When they arrived at the shooting range, more than a dozen police officers were shooting at the target in front of them. Hearing Qin Feng's words, Yang Lin first glanced at the group of police officers who were shooting, and then nodded. When he saw Yang Lin, there was no surprise on his face, as if he had known that Yang Lin was coming. I can't even imagine the sight of a Taoist priest holding a gun. Seeing Yang Lin nod, Qin Feng immediately shouted to one of the police officers who was undergoing shooting training. "TCH, what's the matter? Yang Lin's sword is faster than a gun." While the audience was talking a lot, Qin Feng pointed at the police officers present with a proud look and said. When Yang Lin saw this, he was not polite to him immediately, and directly picked up the Type 92 pistol. When Qin Feng saw this, he immediately led Yang Lin and others to the shooting range in the corner of the training ground. He only heard a gunshot, and a moving gangster's target was hit by his shot. Such a scene made the audience in the live broadcast room excited on the spot. As for the moving target 50 meters away on the other side, it was almost at a standstill in his eyes. It's hard to say. I'd better not make a conclusion so early. After a brief introduction, he also demonstrated it to Yang Lin on the spot. To put it bluntly, he now knows the gun in his hand better than anyone present. This time it must have involved Yang Lin's knowledge blind spot. With that said, he turned around and took Yang Lin to the shooting place. Taoist priest, would you like to go up and give it a try? but before he finished speaking, Yang Lin pulled the trigger without any aiming action. The first time I fired live ammunition, I didn't even touch the edge of the target. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 185. In the shooting range, as Yang Lin's shot hit the gangster's target between the eyebrows, the whole place fell into a deathly silence. Whether it was the sharpshooters from various departments of the city bureau or the program crew who came with Yang Lin, they were all looking at the target in the distance with expressions of disbelief. It took more than 10 seconds for Hole, who was previously responsible for teaching Yang Lin to shoot, to react. Daozang Yang, have you ever touched a firearm before? Suddenly hearing Hole's question, Yang Lin shook his head without thinking. I have never touched it. Really do not have. Of course not. After repeated confirmations, Hole finally believed that this was Yang Lin's first time touching a gun. But the more this happened, the more confused he became. But he soon comforted himself. Forget it, it's probably a coincidence. I was lucky enough to hit that spot. Maybe he didn't aim there. After doing this, Hole once again had a smile on his face. Taoist master, you shot the shot very well just now. Both the posture of holding the gun and the timing of the shot were just right. Next let's upgrade the difficulty and try continuous shooting. As soon as he finished speaking, the target in the distance changed. First, it moved back a certain distance, and then several bunkers were raised from the ground. The gangsters' targets would hide behind the bunker from time to time, and one of the gangsters even had a hostage in front of him. After this change, the difficulty of shooting suddenly increased several times compared to before. Taoist master, this is our real training program. Let me demonstrate it to you first. After a hint of pride flashed in the corner of his eyes, Hole walked to the shooting position again. Seeing this scene, everyone in the program team quickly gave him the camera. At this moment, Hole suddenly picked up the pistol in front of him. Even before everyone could react, he fired several shots in succession. With the sound of gunfire, each gangster target was knocked down in an instant, even the gangster who took the hostages was no exception. And this only takes a few seconds. Seeing such a result, everyone at the scene immediately applauded, even the viewers in the live broadcast room were no exception. Holy shit, that's awesome. All 5 gangsters were killed in one go. He is indeed an elite member of the police force. His shooting skills are even more exaggerated than those in the movies. Only the one in leather can fight him. So handsome. As expected, firearms are a man's romance. I finally understand why traditional martial arts have been eliminated. With such sharpshooters, there is no place for any martial arts. Just when everyone was praising him, the corners of Hole's mouth couldn't help but turn up slightly. Obviously, he himself was very satisfied with his performance just now. Taoist master, what I just showed you is just to show you. If you want to achieve the effect I just did, it will take 10 or 8 years of training to achieve it. Of course, talent is more important than practice. In the entire Jinghai City Bureau, there are actually many people who are more talented than me. Before Hole could finish speaking, Yang Lin suddenly asked curiously. Pandeo saw a skill called gunfighting on TV before. Do you include gunfighting in your daily training? For example, the technology that makes bullets bend. Pandeo wants to take a look. Ah! As soon as Yang Lin said these words, the sharpshooters present immediately looked at each other. Without exception, there was a strange look in their eyes. The atmosphere at the scene became even more embarrassing. After a long while, Hole shook his head with a wry smile and said, Taoist priest, how can there be such a thing as gunfighting in this world? That's all imagined by people who don't understand shooting at all. As for making bullets bend, that's even more nonsense. Faced with Hole's statement, Yang Lin nodded first, and then continued. Actually, Pandeo feels that gunfighting is not necessarily all imagination, it just requires a little bit of skill. If it's convenient, Pandeo would like to give it a try. Obviously he didn't expect that Yang Lin would make such a request, and Hole was stunned for a moment. However, after seeing the sincere expression on Yang Lin's face, he finally nodded mysteriously. As for the other sharpshooters present, they all shook their heads helplessly. Obviously they didn't think Yang Lin could figure out the legendary gunfighting skills. On the contrary, everyone in the live broadcast room had an inexplicable confidence in Yang Lin. Just when everyone had different thoughts, Yang Lin walked to the shooting position again. Looking at the reloaded pistol in front of him, he first looked at it carefully, and then suddenly said something to Hole beside him. "Can you bring me another handful of the same thing for Pandeo?" Faced with Yang Lin's sudden request, Hole was a little confused, but he didn't think much about it and borrowed the same Type 92 pistol from another comrade on the side. After taking over the pistol from Hole, Yang Lin did not put down the pistol in his other hand. In this way, he directly becomes a left and right dual wielder. Seeing this scene, the police officers who already had no confidence in him shook their heads speechlessly again. Even if an ordinary person holds a gun with one hand, it is already difficult to maintain stability. After all, even a pistol has considerable recoil. In addition, most people are either accustomed to using their left hand or their right hand, so even sharpshooters cannot dual wield. But when they thought that Yang Lin was just here to experience and visit, they had nothing to say. But the second condition Yang Lin proposed next confused them a bit. "Can you release all the targets over there at the same time? It would be best if they move randomly." Hole was stunned on the spot when he suddenly heard Yang Lin's request. "Taoist Master, are you sure? This is the mode we only use when training is the most difficult. How about you start with something simple first?" "No need, Pandeo is just trying it out, it doesn't matter if it doesn't complete." "That's okay." Seeing that Yang Lin was determined, Hole stopped trying to dissuade him and gently pressed a switch on the side. On the other side, there were more than a dozen gangster targets moving without any regularity. From time to time they would hide behind bunkers. Ordinary people will feel dazzled just by looking at it, let alone shooting. But under such circumstances, Yang Lin directly raised the muzzles of his left and right hands. The next second everyone heard a burst of continuous gunshots. At the same time, the gangster targets on the other side also fell down one after another. The whole process lasted less than 5 seconds. By the time everyone reacted, all the dozen or so gangsters who had just moved had been killed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 186. Since the time was too short, everyone's first reaction was that Yang Lin was shooting randomly. But when they looked in the direction of the target, their expressions instantly froze. All the gangsters released earlier had been shot and fell to the ground. Only the hostage target was still standing there. And when the fallen targets were erected again, an even more shocking scene appeared before their eyes. How is it possible? They all hit the center of the eyebrow. It's too fake. All the targets were shot in the same place. Impossible, impossible, is this something a human can do? The police officers present couldn't help but swallowed their saliva. Hole, who was closest to Yang Lin, cast his eyes firmly on Yang Lin. In fact, just when Yang Lin was shooting, his eyes were always on Yang Lin. So he also saw something that others didn't. What shocked him the most was that neither Yang Lin's left hand nor his right hand shook at all when shooting. As if it was fixed there, the recoil caused by the pistol seemed to disappear. Even if he wanted to do this, it would be impossible. Of course, this is nothing at this point. As if he thought of something, he quickly took out a stopwatch. When he saw the time on the stopwatch, he couldn't help but exclaimed. 5 seconds 34, how is this possible? He completed 15 shots in 5 seconds, and all of them hit. Hearing his exclamation, the group of sharpshooters participating in the shooting training immediately gathered around. And after seeing the time on the stopwatch, the expressions of surprise on their faces were no less surprising than those of Hole. Oh my God, how did he do it without even having to aim? 15 bullets were shot in 5 seconds without even a pause in between. What's even more outrageous is that he hit it right between the eyebrows. How fast is his reaction speed? Is he an eagle? His eyesight is so strong. My eyes were open today, but I didn't expect that someone with such powerful shooting skills would be a Taoist priest. While this group of police elites were lamenting, a police officer wearing glasses noticed something was wrong. Wait a minute, is there a gangster hiding behind the pillar over there? He was shot anyway, and the shot was in his temple. After hearing his words, everyone who was still talking about them immediately followed his gaze and looked over. Sure enough, as he said, among the many gangster targets, there was one target that was completely different from the others. Not only was the location where he was shot changed from the center of his eyebrow to his temple, but his position was also behind a pillar. After discovering this, everyone who was already shocked immediately showed expressions of extreme horror. How is this possible? That is, could it be that he planted the gun first and then moved it behind the pillar? It's impossible. These targets are all equipped with sensors. The moment they were shot, they immediately fell to the ground and would not move at all. And even if he was shot first, the shot would not have been in the temple. That is, unless the bullet can turn, this is absolutely impossible to happen. Can bullets turn? At this point, everyone seemed to suddenly think of something, and they quickly looked at Yang Lin. At this moment, the words gunfighting appeared in their minds again. If they had previously scorned this shooting technology that only existed in film and television works, then after seeing the weird shooting results just now, their hearts were already shaken. After a moment of silence, Hole finally couldn't help but ask. Daozang Yang, how did you do it just now? Can you tell us? If you hadn't said anything, we might not have been able to sleep tonight. As soon as he finished saying this, the police officers present nodded wildly. It was obvious that they were also extremely curious at the moment. Facing everyone's doubts, Yang Lin first put down the pistols in his left and right hands, and then answered slowly. As you can see, Pandeo just made the bullet turn during the shooting. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Hole and others as well as the audience in the live broadcast room all changed drastically. They thought Yang Lin was just talking about it, but they never expected that he would actually master the gunfighting technique that only existed in film and television works. No, Yang Lin is serious. He has restored things like gunfighting skills, tisk tisk tisk, and he also said that he has never touched a gun before. He has definitely touched a gun before. If he hadn't touched it, I would stand on my head and eat it. He is also good at martial arts and spear skills. He is not invincible anymore. Sure enough, times have changed. Even Taoist priests have learned to use guns. Infinite Gatlin Heavenly Lord. I knew Yang Lin could do it. Just when everyone was shocked by the appearance of gunfighting, Yang Lin continued. Actually, if you want to realize the legendary gunfighting technique, you just need to meet 3 requirements. The first point is to master every muscle in your body. The second point is the ultimate vision. The third point is the super fast response speed. Use your eyes to lock, use your brain to calculate, and use your muscles to execute. The combination of the 3 will naturally make your shots fast and accurate. Of course, we also need to calculate the weight of the bullet itself, the friction force, and the kinetic energy of the firearm, so it also requires a little bit of mathematics and physics foundation. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin casually grabbed a handful of bullets from the table nearby, and then threw the handful of bullets away in front of everyone. Before anyone could react to what Yang Lin was doing, he grabbed the two pistols on the table at a speed that no one could catch with the naked eye. Then everyone heard a series of gunshots again. In the extremely shocked eyes of everyone, the bullets that had just been thrown by Yang Lin were all hit by the bullets fired from the pistol in his hand. However, this is not the end. After the first batch of bullets were hit by subsequent bullets, they were immediately shot at the gangster target below at various weird and tricky angles. Some were hit in the Tianling Gai, while others were hit in the temple. And some were simply hit in the back of the head. Almost none of the bullets had a trace, but they all managed to hit. Compared to the last time, everyone could see it clearly this time. But it was precisely because of this that everyone's jaws almost dropped in shock. At the same time, at this time, Yang Lin's voice came again. "How about it, do you want to learn? If you want to learn, Pandeo can teach you. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes." Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 187. In the shooting range, as the shooting situations of the gangsters were revealed in front of everyone, everyone seemed to have lost the ability to speak at this moment. Especially those sharpshooters from different departments of the Jinghai City Bureau. Some of them have been handling guns for more than 10 years, but they never thought that one day they would be able to see such outrageous marksmanship. The audience in the live broadcast room was already in a frenzy. "Awesome, I didn't expect Yang Lin to be so good at shooting. This is even more amazing than the scenes in the drama. Sacred dramas are all shot conservatively. Yang Lin's appearance just now reminded me of my old friend who wore leather clothes and liked to bet on bullets with others. Is there a possibility that even Yan Chuangying can't hold a shuttle in front of Yang Lin? As we all know, Yan Chuangying equals nuclear bomb, Yang Lin Yan Chuangying, so Yang Lin nuclear bomb. Hit the bullet with a bullet, and then make the bullet bend. You can do this." Thankfully Yang Lin is a monk, otherwise based on his abilities, he would be too harmful to society. He can already shoot 360 degrees without blind spots, which is even better than the gunfighting skills in the movies. TCH, why are you learning gun skills? Learn how to argue with me. The damage range of a gun is only a few hundred meters at most, but I am different. I can inflict anger on people thousands of kilometers away. If this thing can become popular among the police force, will criminals be able to escape in the future? The key question is, can Yang Lin really teach these police officers? Just as everyone in the live broadcast room was talking about it, everyone in the shooting range finally came to their senses. Holei immediately transformed into a little fanboy and walked up to Yang Lin. "Taoist priest, can we really learn from you the gunfighting skills you just demonstrated? Can we really learn this?" After asking two questions in a row, other police officers present also looked expectantly. "Of course you can. Just as Pandeo said just now, as long as you reach those 3 points, not to mention that you can be 100% the same as what Pandeo just performed, you can at least reach about 70%. Hearing Yang Lin's reply, the police officers, including Holei, suddenly became excited. "Don't say 70%, even 50% is enough. I just don't know how we're going to do it." As he spoke, everyone's eyes turned to Yang Lin again, and Yang Lin had no intention of hiding anything, so he immediately explained it in front of everyone. "First of all, if you want to control every muscle in your body like Pandeo did just now, you must practice the Zhuan Kung Fu and breathing techniques well." As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin hugged Yuan Xiaoyi and bent his knees. This pile is called the coiling dragon pillar. You can practice the upper and lower body parts at the same time. Combined with the upper and lower body breathing method, it only takes a month to greatly improve the control of your own muscles and breathing rhythm. Seeing that Yang Lin was already demonstrating, The police officers present quickly imitated his example. And the viewers in the live broadcast room are naturally no exception. But unlike Yang Lin's relaxed look, everyone couldn't hold on for long at all. Ordinary viewers would feel sore and numb in less than a minute, and even the elite police officers present could only last about 2 minutes at most. After 2 minutes passed, their bodies felt like they had taken a shower. Looking at Yang Lin on the other side, he was as motionless as a sculpture, which made everyone admire him. No wonder the Taoist master's hands are so steady. If I could stand like him, I would be able to ignore the recoil of most firearms. Almost that night, several of the medicines in Yang Lin's formula were sold out. Yang Lin has no reason to lie, so this is definitely true. As he spoke, he asked someone for paper and pen. Not long after, he wrote down the incantation of the Pure Heart and Bright Eyes mantra on paper, as well as a formula. Damn, Yang Lin is really generous. He made such a precious thing public directly. Of course, some methods of training eyesight have also been passed down from ancient times in the Dragon Kingdom. If I persist for half a year, it will be easy to see at night. Seeing this scene, the cameraman of the program team immediately moved the camera closer. The audience in the live broadcast room was also in an uproar instantly. If muscle control and breathing can be improved through acquired practice, then improving eyesight is definitely much more difficult than the former. As for whether it had any effect, they no longer had any doubts. The next thing I want to teach you is how to improve your eyesight. I felt it too, and I also felt a little bit of heat in my lower abdomen. If these two methods are really effective, I will enshrine Yang Lin's portrait in our home from today on. The breathing technique taught by the Taoist priest is also very useful. It feels like it can adjust the breathing rhythm. For a good shooter, the breathing rhythm is very important. That's why they were so excited when they heard that Yang Lin had a way to improve his eyesight. And at this time, Yang Lin finally revealed the specific method. After hearing this, everyone immediately cheered up again. The Zhuan Kung Fu and breathing technique just now exercise the control of muscles and breath. This formula must be worth at least several hundred million. He made it public when he said it would be made public. This is his magnanimity. Only people who are myopic know how painful myopia is, but they are afraid of the risks if they want to have surgery. But these are all legends after all. If anyone really follows these instructions, they will only develop trachoma and conjunctivitis, which will greatly increase the chance of suffering from eye diseases. Don't be stunned, hurry up and take a screenshot. Just as everyone was sighing, Yang Lin, who had been standing for a few minutes, also finished his work and stood up. Yes, this skill is too difficult, but I can vaguely feel my limbs heating up slightly. There is no doubt that at this moment, both the police officers present and the audience in the live broadcast room realized the importance of the formula given by Yang Lin. Stop talking, I went to the drugstore to grab some medicine. I'm afraid that if I get there too late, all the medicine will be gone. As one of the most delicate organs in the body, the eyes can be said to be the most difficult to train. Just when the entire pharmaceutical market was being stirred up by Yang Lin also came up with the last method to improve response speed. For example, the famous archers Fei Wei and Yang Yuji once used lice, flying shuttles, etc. to exercise their eyesight. Yes, if these two things are really effective, it will be great news for those with poor eyesight. No more talking, I will try to stand for an hour every day from now on. This set of pile exercises feels more useful than daily training. Actually, there are only 2 steps needed to improve eyesight. One step is to chant the mantra to clear the mind and brighten the eyes every day, and the other is to wash the eyes with the potion prepared by Pandeo. If it is really effective, I don't know how many optical shops and eye hospitals will close down. If you stick to it for half a month, your eyesight will be greatly improved. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 188. The speed of the brain's reaction depends, to a certain extent, on the speed of nerve signal transmission. So if we want to lock onto the target quickly, we must increase the transmission speed of our neural signals. In the shooting range, Yang Lin pointed at his brain and explained seriously. The first step in information transmission is for the vesicles gathered at the synapse to fuse with the presynaptic membrane to release neurotransmitters. Before Yang Lin could finish his explanation, Hole on the side raised his right hand. Taoist Yang, do you Taoists also read modern scientific journals? This question obviously resonated with most people present. After Yang Lin heard this question, he answered without thinking. Of course, we Taoists draw on the strengths of others. Now that we are in the 21st century, we naturally have to absorb some new things. You won't understand, right? As soon as these words came out, the police officers present nodded immediately. Okay, actually, to explain it simply, it's actually about improving your God. What we just exercised was our own essence and energy, but to enhance your spirit, you need visualization and meditation. Now you all close your eyes, and then imagine a giant across the universe in your mind. Imagine that the stars in the universe are cells of this giant, then exhale, inhale. As Yang Lin explained, everyone present unconsciously followed his request. I don't know how much time passed, but when everyone woke up again, they felt that their whole bodies were extremely relaxed and their brains were much clearer than before. It was like taking a long nap. Everyone who felt their own changes instantly showed surprise. It's really amazing. I really felt like I had turned into that giant just now, and there wasn't a single distracting thought in my mind. Same for me. It felt like I just took a nap. Now my whole brain is awake and my brain's reaction speed has become a little faster. I had insomnia last night and had a little migraine, but now it's actually gone. With this method, you don't have to worry about lack of sleep affecting your reaction speed even if you perform tasks in the wild for a long time. Taoist culture is indeed broad and profound. If you keep practicing like this, will you become an immortal? What are you thinking about? There is no such thing as an immortal in this world. It was obviously not just the police officers at the scene who were also surprised. Everyone in the live broadcast room immediately noticed the immediate changes after meditating with Yang Lin. Holy crap, what kind of operation is this? I just tried it according to Yang Lin's method, and now I feel so relaxed. Me too, I rarely feel this energetic since I grew up. Either I feel dizzy if I sleep too little, or I feel dizzy if I sleep too much. This is the first time I feel my brain is so awake. I have a hunch that if I strictly follow the methods Yang Lin just mentioned and continue to exercise every day, my body will definitely get better and better, and my brain will become better and better. If nothing else, it can greatly improve my learning efficiency. I didn't expect that I could learn so much from watching the live broadcast today. After everyone's excitement subsided, they looked at Yang Lin sincerely again. I really benefited a lot from what Director Yang said. On behalf of all the police officers of the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau, we would like to thank you, Director Yang. As he spoke, all the police officers present bowed to Yang Lin. Although our Dragon Kingdom already has experts in related fields, it takes too long to cultivate a talent in this field. After all, it's not appropriate to ask a group of forensic doctors and police officers to study such nonsense. Qin Feng didn't expect that Yang Lin would agree so simply that his face was instantly filled with joy. If this knowledge can be popularized, our crime detection rate will be greatly improved. Faced with everyone's thanks, Yang Lin remained indifferent. One side is science, the other side is metaphysics. Of course, if it's not convenient for you to teach these things, I won't force you. They can already imagine the next scene in their minds. And everyone in the live broadcast room became excited instantly after knowing that they were about to visit the place where the legendary forensic doctors worked. Tao Zhongyang, in addition to the training you just saw here today, I invite you to come for another important purpose. I'm afraid there are few people in the world who can make such a precious thing public like you. No problem. These things are not secrets in the first place. But when those superiors learned about what Yang Lin did at Zhangjiawan police station yesterday, they no longer had any objections. Just when Yang Lin thought everything was over here, Qin Feng once again made a merciless request. When he said these words, Qin Feng's face was full of excitement, and it was obvious that these words came from his heart. "Dea Zhang Yang, I really don't know what to say this time. I never expected that he would share some rare and unusual techniques and prescriptions without reservation. Then I want our city bureau's forensic doctor to learn from you the knowledge of bone palpation and physiognomy." He even had a big fight with his superiors over this issue. After all, he had never thought before that Yang Lin could actually help the police officers improve their shooting skills. However, just when Qin Feng finished speaking, Yang Lin nodded directly. "But if you want to learn this knowledge, you still need more understanding and faith, so even if a poor Taoist is willing to teach, not everyone may be able to learn it. I'll teach you the method, you just need to practice more." After the surprise, Qin Feng quickly took Yang Lin to the forensic building next to the training ground. Of course, what made them even more excited was Yang Lin's next teaching part. So much so that he was more or less moved. Ever since he saw Yang Lin solving several cases with his own eyes, he had never forgotten this in his heart. "Pandeo also learned it from books when we were in the mountains." After expressing his gratitude, Qin Feng took Yang Lin and left the shooting range. On one side are forensic doctors wearing white coats, representing modern science, and on the other side is Yang Lin, who is wearing a Taoist robe, representing the traditional culture of the Dragon Kingdom. Even if they can only learn a little bit, it is something to be proud of for them. As soon as he finished saying this, Qin Feng's voice sounded from the side. "At the same time, my heart is full of expectations. You're welcome, just some tips that aren't worth mentioning. With the methods you provide, the combat effectiveness of our police officers will surely rise to a higher level again." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 189. Dea Zhang Yang, this is Qin Ming, Director of the Forensic Office of our Municipal Bureau. He is also the youngest forensic director in the history of our Jinghai Municipal Bureau. He has assisted our Municipal Bureau in solving major and important cases many times. In the forensic workroom of the Jinghai Municipal Bureau, Qin Feng was introducing Yang Lin with a formal expression. Next to him was a handsome young forensic doctor who looked to be in his 20s. As the young forensic doctor entered the scene, the audience in the live broadcast room had already started talking, especially the female viewers. "Ah, this little forensic doctor is so handsome. Yeah, in my impression, forensic doctors are all older men. I didn't expect the forensic doctor from Jinghai City Bureau to be so handsome. This skin, this appearance, and this height are only a little bit behind Yang Lin. Sure enough, all the handsome guys have been handed over to the state. It turns out he is Qin Ming. I have seen several reports about him in newspapers before. Many netizens call him the god of crime. I've also heard about him. I heard that he can make the dead speak, and there's no case that he can't solve. You are so young, you are so powerful, and you are still a forensic doctor, so blind dates must be very popular." Just when the audience was talking a lot because of Qin Ming's appearance, Qin Ming, who was wearing a white coat, also nodded slightly towards Yang Lin. But judging from his expression, he didn't seem to be particularly interested in Yang Lin. Think about it, as a forensic doctor, the education he received since childhood is destined to be centered on materialism. It is simply impossible to accept the theory of gods and ghosts in Taoist culture. In his eyes there is only science. Taoist Yang, I just want Qin Ming to come and learn from you this time. Don't hide your secrets. Just as the two were sizing each other up, Qin Feng spoke again. However, Qin Ming on the other side didn't seem to agree with him too much. He walked towards the workbench beside him while he was still talking. Seeing this scene, Qin Feng's face suddenly showed a hint of embarrassment. Taoist priest, please don't mind, Qin Ming's character is like this, but his talent is undoubted. But before he finished speaking, Yang Lin walked towards the workbench with a look of curiosity on his face. Upon seeing this, several members of the program team quickly followed with filming equipment. But they soon regretted it. Not only did they regret it, but even the viewers in the live broadcast room expressed their bad luck. Looking in the direction of the camera, Qin Ming had already put on his gloves, and in front of him lay a corpse that looked like a giant. That exciting scene almost made several members of the program crew you. I'm sorry. Photography brother, you don't have to take photos in a shameless manner. Yes, although we are curious about the work of forensic scientists, it is better not to show us such things. What a bloody chicken. I feel like I won't be able to eat at all today. This hair has already been soaked. This person must have drowned. Needless to say, even though it's a picture, I feel like I can smell it. It reminds me of swimming in the river when I was a kid, and a dead pig floated upstream. Stop talking about you. The job of a forensic doctor is really not something that ordinary people can do. I would rather burn the body in a funeral parlor than work as a forensic doctor. No wonder the forensic doctors can't find anyone. Who wants their significant other to do this kind of thing all day long? Although I feel disgusting, I still want to continue to see what's going on. Am I a pervert? Just when the audience in the live broadcast room almost vomited, Qin Feng's voice sounded in the live broadcast room again. This body was discovered by a fisherman this morning. We initially suspect that this person is also a fisherman. Since we did not find a wallet, mobile phone, or other items on the deceased's body, there is a high probability that he drowned when he went into the water to pick up a fishing rod. While Qin Feng was explaining, Qin Ming also used a scalpel to cut open the chest and abdomen of the deceased. After checking the lungs and other organs of the deceased, he said with an indifferent expression. There was a large amount of water and silt in the lungs of the deceased, and his lips were purple. It was a typical death from drowning. No pharmaceutical ingredients were found in the stomach, only a small amount of instant noodles was found. It is estimated that the time of death was around 9 o'clock last night. As for whether he drowned in the waters where the body was found, we still need to compare the lung water samples and the water samples in the water. However, before Qin Ming finished speaking, Yang Lin's voice rang from the side. Pandeo has some different views. This person did die of drowning, but it was not a normal death. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, Qin Ming frowned. Taoist priest, judging from the current evidence, it is not enough to prove that the deceased died of an abnormal death. Are you too arbitrary to say so? Yes, Chief Taoist, based on the evidence we currently have, we can't confirm whether the deceased died of an accident or murder. Qin Feng also echoed from the side at this moment. Facing the two people's doubts, Yang Lin smiled calmly and said. Since Pandeo said so, it certainly makes sense for Pandeo. This person's adultery is covered with horizontal stripes, indicating that there has been a change in the marriage. To be more precise, a third party has intervened. And this person is not destined to die young. Although there will be misfortunes in his fate, he will not die. So Pandeo speculates that he died of love murder, and he didn't die in the water where you found him. If you don't believe it, check the back of his neck. After hearing Yang Lin's explanation, Qin Ming obviously didn't believe it. In his opinion, what Yang Lin said was completely nonsense. But out of curiosity he eventually turned the body over. His eyes suddenly widened in the next second. On the back of the deceased's neck, there were 3 black fingerprints. It was obvious that the deceased had been strangled on the back of his neck with great force before he was alive. How could this happen? Why didn't I find this when I checked before? Did he really drown somewhere else and then dumped his body into that river? Qin Ming was stunned for a moment. At this time, Yang Lin continued. If Pandao's calculations are correct, you should have found the deceased in Nanhua district yesterday. The time of death you inferred was 9 o'clock in the evening. But according to the weather forecast, it was supposed to rain heavily in Nanhua district at 9 o'clock last night, so the deceased could not have been fishing at that time. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, a police officer hurried into the medical examiner's office. Forensic Dr. Qin, we have just found out the identity of the deceased and found a fishing friend who went fishing with the deceased yesterday. It rained suddenly last night, and the deceased had already gone back with his things at 8 o'clock in the evening. As soon as these words came out, everyone at the scene was in an uproar. Even Qin Ming looked at Yang Lin in disbelief. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 190. Qin Ming never expected that Yang Lin could accurately know so much information just by looking at it. Originally, he was dismissive of those myths, but at this moment, his heart was shaken. He was already so shocked, let alone the netizens who were watching the live broadcast. Yang Lin is really awesome. He can accurately determine the time and cause of death of the deceased with just one glance. Don't forget, our Taoist priests from the Dragon Kingdom also deal with corpses all year round. When they dealt with corpses, they didn't have the profession of forensic doctors. That's true, but they were called mages at that time. In this way, the nature of the work of forensic doctors and mages is similar. They both communicate yin and yang. So the deceased came home early from fishing, so he found his wife having sex with her lover at home, and then he was drowned to death by his wife and her lover. Although there is no final conclusion, there is a high probability that this is the case. What a miserable fisherman! This incident tells us that as long as you choose to fish at night, don't go home halfway even if there is a knife from the sky. It's good for all 3. Unlike me, even if my wife kneels down and begs me, I will never go back at night. Your Excellency is so awesome. Could it be that you are He Jiang? Is there a possibility that your wife is irritating you on purpose and doesn't want you to go back in the middle of the night? It doesn't matter. How could fishermen care about this? They only care about whether they can catch fish. After being shocked, Qin Feng quickly dispatched surveillance cameras near the incident site. Sure enough, at around 8 o'clock last night, the deceased had already left with his fishing gear. Then it never appeared again. This undoubtedly once again verified Yang Lin's calculation just now. Taoist Master Yang, you are really amazing. You immediately concluded that the deceased was not drowned in the river. But if we want to prove that the deceased died of love killing rather than an accident, we still lack key evidence. The fingerprint just now can only prove that the deceased had a conflict with someone before his death. As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, Qin Ming on the side couldn't wait to say. This is simple. We only need to compare the water in the deceased's lungs with the water source in the deceased's home to prove that the deceased died at home. There is no need to compare. The water in the lungs of the deceased should be the same as that at the place where the incident occurred. Yang Lin's faint voice came again. The 2 people who heard the sentence fell into confusion again. The murderer was very cunning. He knew that the forensic doctor would definitely check the water in the lungs of the deceased, so he did not choose to drown the deceased with ordinary water. Instead, he chose to use the bucket of water that the deceased brought back. As he spoke, Yang Lin pointed to the surveillance screen just now. In the surveillance footage, the deceased was seen carrying not only a fishing box but also a white paint bucket when leaving. Apparently the white paint bucket contained the fish he caught and a bucket of river water. Maybe he never thought until his death that the bucket of water he brought back would kill him. After Yang Lin's explanation, Qin Ming also fell into deep contemplation. I thought I had discovered a key piece of evidence, but I didn't expect it to be overturned so quickly. Just as he was deep in thought, Yang Lin's voice came again. This was obviously a premeditated murder, and the murderer also had some experience in committing crimes. So he must have dealt with all the details you can think of. If we want to find some breakthrough, we can only ask the dead to tell us. Let the dead tell us. Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's words, everyone in the autopsy room was immediately confused. At this moment, Yang Lin suddenly put his left hand into his cuff. The next second he turned his left hand, and several things appeared in his hand. They are 3 sticks of incense, a handful of paper money, and a yellow charm. Seeing these 3 things, everyone present was instantly stunned. What they were thinking about was not where these things came from. After all, it was reasonable for these things to appear on a Taoist priest. What really puzzled them was why Yang Lin took out these things at this time. But this time Yang Lin didn't explain to them. I saw that he first lit 3 sticks of incense with his bare hands, inserted them in front of the deceased, and then sprinkled a handful of paper money. Such an operation made Qin Ming dumbfounded on the spot. But before he could react, Yang Lin's voice rang in his ears. Be still and concentrate. Although he didn't quite understand why Yang Lin suddenly said this to him, he did it inexplicably. After he eliminated all the distracting thoughts in his mind, a yellow talisman clicked on his forehead. His first reaction was to take off the yellow talisman. But before he could take action, a feeling of dizziness suddenly came from his mind. The next second he felt his eyes go dark. When he opened his eyes again, he was already in a strange room. A strange man and woman were entangled in front of them. The strange man and woman seemed extremely panicked by his appearance. The 2 of them tried desperately to explain something, but he rushed into the kitchen nearby and picked up the kitchen knife. Seeing this, Qin Ming instantly understood what the picture he saw at this moment represented. But before he had time to get excited, he felt someone hugging him from behind, and a pair of strong hands holding his neck tightly. What came next was a strong sense of suffocation. A large amount of river water with a fishy smell poured violently into his mouth and nasal cavity. At this moment, Qin Ming felt as if he was going to die at any time. But just when he was about to die, his hand suddenly touched something. After a burst of force, the thing was forcefully pulled off by him. From the touch point of view, it should be an earring. By this time, the suffocating feeling suddenly disappeared. When he regained his vision again, he was already in a narrow trunk. After a rough ride, he was finally thrown into the cold water. His fishing rod was thrown into the river along with his body. Wake up! Just when Qin Ming wanted to continue to figure out whether things were what he thought, a gentle voice suddenly sounded in his ears. The next second he felt his eyes become bright again. And his first words after opening his eyes were, "The earring is an earring. The earring is evidence. It is in the corner of the trunk of the deceased's car." As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Only Yang Lin showed a mysterious smile on his face.